we've got a commander thing happening tonight, and we've made some rules. We had to build a commander deck. Budget is $100 or less. Can't be $101. Can't be $100.01. It has to be $100 or less. With a commander that has been printed this year, 2024. I have gone with Glarb, Calamity's Augur, because frogs. I love frogs. I don't know how this is gonna go. I feel like it's cheating that I'm doing this, but it's right before the event, so I think it's okay. But anyway, so Glarb, Death Touch. Look at the top card of my library at any time, and I can play lands and cast spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top. Tap it to surveil 2. This is just frog tribal. I don't know if this is gonna be good. You guys tell me, and then we're gonna add, next year we're gonna add up. Next year sounds so weird because it's like a month away, but we're gonna keep upgrading these decks. So we're gonna see where these go. Currently, I am at. Let's see, I've got it in here, Scryfall here, $63.48. So I've got some room to expand currently, because I'm well under the $100 limit. But let's see. So first off, we've got our bread and butter stuff, just frogs, all the frogs. Roaming Throne is the most expensive card in the deck. It's like, the card value goes off the lowest price of any card, although we can bling cards out as much as we want. Roaming Throne is my most expensive. It looks like it's $34, which is a lot. Wait, let's go back to here. Roaming Throne is $20 on here, so that's the cheapest version. It's 20 bucks. So there's that one. It's a frog. So double our frog triggers. But anyway, Erratic Portal. Our frogs want to flicker or return to hand. So we can return things to hand, and then unless this controller pays 1. We'll probably not pay 1, but we're going to return our own things. We could potentially return somebody else's things just to be annoying. So that's in there. Grolnok the Omnivore. Whenever our frogs attack, we mill 3. Whenever permanent is put in a graveyard, we exile it with a croak counter, and then we can play lands and cast spells with croak counters on them. Permanents and whatever. So that's just helpful for frogs in general. Lily Splash Mentor, reach, you flicker another creature, and then it returns with a 1/1 counter on it. Activate as a sorcery, and it's got reach. Long River Lurker gives all our frogs ward 1. When it enters, target creature we control can't be blocked this turn. And then we can flicker something if they deal damage. Mist Breath Elder is the beginning of our upkeep. Return another creature to its owner's hand. If we do, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Otherwise, you can return this to our hand. And then we can get another trigger if we want to. Octomancer, we can gift an 8/8 octopus, but that's pretty steep. But on each end step, we can create a token that's a copy of target creature token that entered this turn. That I feel like that's going to be useful in general. So maybe an 8/8 octopus. So that could be fun. Roaming Throne, of course, we just talked about. Roaring Primadox is actually pretty cool. Beginning of our upkeep, we'll return a creature we control to its owner's hand. So this will flicker, put our frogs back if we want. Not flicker, but hand flicker, I suppose. Splash Lasher, we can offspring it. Enters, tap and stun creatures. Sticky Tongue Sentinel, 3/3 reach, and when it enters, we can return up to 1 target permanent to our hand. Again, Sunshower Druid gains a slack, puts a +1/+1 counter on a creature. We return that to hand, trigger it again. Gitrog Monster. This doesn't go with that theme, but it does go with the graveyard surveil stuff. There's like too many themes in this deck, so hopefully it somewhat runs. Beginning of our upkeep, we sack a land noise to sacrifice the Gitrog Monster. We can play an additional land, and then we can, one of our lands are put into our graveyard from anywhere. We'll draw a card. So that's some nice bonus stuff. 3-Tree Scribe. Whenever another creature leaves without dying, put a 1/1 counter on one of our creatures. Hopefully this will trigger a lot. Urg, Spawn of Turg. Equal number of lands in our graveyard is its power. Beginning of our upkeep, look at the top card. Beginning of our upkeep, surveil 1, basically. And then we can sack a land to gain 2 life. Valley Might Caller. Whenever another frog enters, we'll put a +1/+1 counter on this. Yargle and Multani, and then just Yargle. Just big ol' vanilla creatures. They're awesome. I have the deck here, by the way. I've got this whole deck right in front of me. So I just put all this in. All right, card draw engines. Bellowing Crier. Draw, discard. Clifftop Lookout. Enters, reveal cards from the top until we reveal a land. Put it on the battlefield tapped. Whatever, that stuff. This is like kind of card draw, not really. Dire Sight. Surveil 2, draw 2, lose 2. It's pretty awesome. It's got a frog in its art. Distant Melody. These are not frogs, but choose a creature type and then draw a card of each type. Actually, does this have a frog type? No. Yeah, fine. This is actually the one I have. This one. So anyway, Distant Melody. Dowerport Mage. Whenever one or more creatures leave the battlefield without dying, we'll draw a card. We can return something to hand with it too. Eagle Vision. This we can cast off the top of our library with our commander. We draw 3 cards. If we deal damage with it too, we can, with our commander, we can cast this for cheaper off the top. Whatever. There's just neat things you can do with the Glarb. Fountain Port Bell has a frog. It's mainly why it's in here. But we can search for basic under the top of our library, and if we want to, and we can pay 1 and sacrifice it to draw a card. That's just nice. Planar Genesis. Look at the top 4. Put a land on the battlefield tapped from among them. If we didn't, put the rest on the bottom. Oh, if we don't, wait. Stop it. Look at the top 4 cards. You may put a land from among them onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't, put a card from among them into your hand. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, so whatever we need, we'll get it from the top. Pawn Prophet enters, draw a card. Hopefully that'll trigger a bunch. Unwilling Ingredient. If it's in the graveyard, we can exile it to draw a card. It's a frog. Enablers. I feel like there's a lot of enablers, but these are kind of with the bread and butter because we're trying to get things out of the graveyard as well. Badlands Revival. Defossilize, Raise Dead, Walk with Ancestors, Treasure Find, and Squirming Emergence. All pull things out of the graveyard to the battlefield, I believe, or some to a hand, whatever. I mean, this one is, Discover 4. This one puts it to the battlefield, whatever. And this one explores, and then explores again. So there's some different things we can do. And then ramming up an Excavator lets us play lands from our graveyard. And the snake is really close to a frog, right? So guess that kind of works. Finishers here, we've got Overwhelming Stampede, so we can bring out all our frogs and swing with a lot of power, hopefully. And to do that, we got Tree Guard Duo as well. Enters 1 creature, gets XX in Vigilance, or X number of creatures we control. Hopefully that gets pretty good. This can finish off maybe 1 person, maybe. Sleep, taps all creatures somebody controls, and then they freeze. And then Rise of the Dark Realms, we're going to be surveilling. We put all creature cards from all graveyards on the battlefield under our control. So yeah, that could be interesting. Flex spots, these are kind of flex. Coiling Rebirth. If we gift a card, we can make a copy of something in our graveyard. So that's pretty cool. And so that's, whenever something enters, draw a card, or do one of those ETB effects, or whatever it is, make a copy of one of our other cool frogs that we have in here. Splash Portal, we flicker something, and if it's a frog, we'll draw a card, and it will be. There's like 2 or 3 non-frogs in the whole deck. Here's our lands, just kind of, we can play lands from the top of our library and potentially from our graveyard, so these could all be real fun as well. Mass Removal, we got Ingaruk's Wake, hopefully destroying everybody else's creatures. Nuance, this is kind of interesting. 8 from the Cowl. Routine or Ebb Step. If a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, reveal the top card of our library. If it's a permanent, we put it on the battlefield. Look at that. Things are going to be leaving the battlefield constantly for us. So this hopefully will trigger every time, and it'll be awesome. Protection, we've got Spore Frog, another frog, and then Overprotect, another frog. Target creature gets a 3/3 trample, hexproof, and indestructible until end of turn. That's just awesome. Coat your turtle or coat your frog in a turtle shell, and have a good day. Ramp Clement is another frog. Gives all our frogs the ability to tap for Simic, or green or blue, and whenever Clement or another creature enters, return up one creature with lesser mana value to our hand. Again, so we can return things to our hand if we want. Glimpse the Core, search for a basic, or return a cave. I don't think there's any caves, so we'll just search for a basic. I think there should have been a cave. I was going to put a cave. Maybe I'll switch something out for a cave. Anyway, I could return stuff. I guess it's the same. It's a rampant growth, basically, otherwise. Nature's Lore as well. Search for a forest. Patchwork Banner gives all our frogs 1/1, and it taps for any color. Soul Ring, of course. Sky Shroud Claim taps for searches for 2 forests. Poison Dart Frog, you gotta put this guy in. He taps for any color, and it's a frog, and it can gain Death Touch, and it has Reach, and it's common. He's a good little boy. Terramorph, I mainly put this in here because of Glarb. We can cast it off the top. So, it's basically an explosive vegetation, but you do it in 2 different turns. Yeah. Viewpoint Synchronization, again, we can cast that with Glarb from the top, but it also has free running. Search for 3 basics, 2 on the battlefield, 1 in your hand. Pretty cool. Targeted Removal, Cathartic Parting. We can have somebody shuffle an artifact or enchantment, and then stuff like that. Drag to the Roots, destroy non-permanent, and we can make it cost less. It can cost less, but with Glarb we can cast it from the top. Infernal Grasp, destroy a creature, lose 2 life. Into the Floodmaw, return a creature to its owner's hand, but if the fish was given, turn a non-land permanent opponent controls instead. Kasmina's Transmutation, make something a 1/1, essentially a frog. Look at that. It looks like a frog, and yeah, it's pretty good. Long Reverse Pull, counter a creature spell. It's if you gift it, you counter its spell instead. Polywallop is my favorite card. One of my favorite cards. Costs 1 less for each frog we control, and it deals damage to twice the power. It's pretty fun. Wear Down, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Destroy 2 if gift was promised. Runaway Together. This actually we need to switch to this printing because I like it way better. And it's got a frog in it. This frog and an otter running away together. Choose 2 different creatures controlled by 2 different players. Return them to hand, and this could be us and somebody else, or 2 different opponents at instant speed for 2 mana. Pretty awesome. What do you guys think of my deck? What's wrong with it? Where can I fix it? I feel like there's a little too much happening, but I feel like I need to play test it a little bit tonight first to really understand it. But anywho, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the links in the description. There's a bunch of them now, so check those out and make sure you check me out. I always say that, check me out. Join me next week for your weekly dose of magic. There we go.